What's up? What's up? Good afternoon. This is Across the Cavs. I am Zach Weiss. We're going to be talking today going across the association. The Bradley Beal trade, the Ja Morant suspension, the new coaches getting hired. Plenty to get to. Let's do it. Network 216. For all y'all watching the video, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Homage for this Evan Mobley shirt. Big fan. Hadn't gotten any Mobley swag yet until now. Love it. Extremely comfortable. Going to definitely be hooping in it soon. Great fabric. A perfect fit, honestly, I can say, as somebody that wears about 4 to 6 NBA shirts a week. If I'm not dressing up for work, I'm not on a broadcast, announcing a game, I'm casual. This shirt is perfect. Head over to Homage. Get yourself a tee like this. Shout out Evan Mobley. Shout out Homage. And behind me, well, that happened 7 years ago yesterday. Actually, this picture is from 2015. Cleveland Cavaliers won the East in 2015, 16, 17, 18. Of course, that picture includes Sean Marion. And on the right, Mike Miller. The year after that, obviously, we're celebrating Cavs today. The year after that, and those of you just listening, we're talking about the backdrop here on the recording. Cavs won it all 7 years ago yesterday. The block, the shot. Cleveland, this is for you. Heck of a month. 3-1, ain't no thing. They did it. They freaking did it. Cavs got their title. June 20th, today, 4 years ago, the Cavs drafting Darius Garland. So that happening. 9 years ago today, the Cavs hiring David Blatt. Anthony Parker turned 49 yesterday. Time flies that he's already 49. It's quite the time in the NBA. We got the draft coming up this year. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Bradley Beal trade. We're going to talk about all these new coaches getting hired. And let's start with Ja Morant. He will be suspended 25 games. A couple of different folks with some thoughts on that. If you haven't been following, if you've been under a rock or just out or not following the offseason for whatever reason, Ja Morant caught waving a gun a couple of times on Instagram Live earlier in the season in a club. And the NBA is not going to have that. You know, a lot of young fans. You got to be a better influence than that. And so Morant originally was suspended during the regular season. Went to some rehab. It was a pretty brief program. Did an interview with Jalen Rose saying, I'm good. I'll learn. And the season ends after they get knocked out by the Lakers. And it happens again. And then he tried to post something or send something to his family where he's holding a toy gun saying, I don't have a problem. That was on May 14th. You have some kind of problem, Demetrius. There's something going on here. My biggest problem with Ja Morant is his father, T. Look, he's probably a cool guy. We see him hanging out. We saw him with Kat's dad during the first round last year with other celebrities. He had that weird Shannon Sharp beef, but he's the problem. We don't know what happens in Ja's personal life off the camera or what happened around what he's done. Obviously, he's in the public eye. He can't be doing stupid things. He can't have friends like that. I believe I read that he blocked his friend that he was with and no longer sees him at all, who was the one recording the video that ended up getting leaked. And obviously, good that he's suspended and can try and get the help he needs. But T. Morant's is acting like this celebrity cool dad when he should be the one helping his son. Ja's a young star in the NBA. He's got a kid, as we know that. Everything he does is under a microscope. And if he's acting like this, he's doing things like this, he's setting a horrible example, first off. And second off, you got to lean on your parents for guidance. They shape us into the people that we are. And for his dad just be basking in the spotlight and trying to ride his son's success. Look, there's nothing wrong with that in some cases, okay? But I don't like it at all. He's got to be a better father figure to Ja. And maybe if he was, the situation might be a little different. We wouldn't be reading about all this in the papers every day. And all the Ja Morant action happening as it is. Maybe it wouldn't be. But man, it's bad. It is bad. So we'll see what ends up happening after the 25 games. His camp apparently thought it was too much. The NBA Players Association thought it was too much. I think it's blasphemous. John Collins and DeAndre Ayton, late in the 2010s, got 25-game suspensions for failed drug tests. You're telling me that waving a gun around on Instagram Live, a loaded gun, and it's not the first offense, might I remind you, that's just as bad as taking illegal substances to try and boost your game? And some think that that's too much. Gilbert Arenas got 50 games for having a loaded gun in his locker. Although the craziest part of that saga was that Jarvis Crittenton was actually in a number of gangs, was in prison for a long time. Believe he's gotten out since. So, Ja, get your act right. And for the Grizzlies, the Dylan Brooks nightmare is over. Woo! Supposedly they want to trade Tyus Jones to a starting team so he can finally get his chance. I don't know about that. I would be hanging on to him. He's your starter for at least the first 25 games, maybe beyond. You got to get some depth at center behind Triple J and Steven Adams. That's what I think. And they got some other needs. Biggest need, though, is locker room stability. Bring in guys that can mentor the Jaws, that need it, that need the little extra push, that need the words of wisdom from their vets. It can change a lot. It can change the culture, and it can fix a lot of what's going on. And the most recent headline, Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. Some picks swaps. Landry Shamet and Chris Paul to the Wizards, though they might flip Paul to another team. Not only do they get Bradley Beal, they get Isaiah Todd, second-year man, and Jordan Goodwin. If you didn't watch Jordan Goodwin last year, you missed a guy that only averaged 6, 3, and 3 with a steal and half a block, but a very good defender. It was his second season. He briefly joined the team the prior year. If you're looking for Jordan Goodwin and what he might bring, he scored in double digits, but 14 times. He had 14 games of multiple steals. For a guard, 4 games of multiple blocks, positive net rating in 22 contests. He's not a great shooter, but he's a good two-way guard. Played the one or the two. He took a lot of minutes away from, might have been DeLon Wright at times last season when Wright was actually healthy, out. But Goodwin only took 3 DNP CDs over the final 3 months of the season. He broke into the rotation, and he was solid. He's going to give them a good defensive guard who maybe ends up starting, depending how much money they have to spend. See if Cameron Payne comes back or what they do with all those roster spots. Oh, but Bradley Beal is the big get here. We don't need to pull up stats to tell you that Bradley Beal is a walking bucket. Number of games of 30-plus, seasons rather, of 30-plus. Some wild scoring games for the Wizards. He had a no-trade clause, which is probably his biggest reason for going to Phoenix and not Miami, who couldn't complete a trade. He can play, although I don't like his fit. It's a big deal. You got Booker, Beal, and Durant, BBD. The new big three. Yet another Kevin Durant, big three. Can't win on his own, can he? Nonetheless, KD on his 4th team, his 3rd team in the West, was insane when he was on the court. The key word is when. Missed a lot of games after coming to the Suns before the playoffs. Was healthy in the playoffs, but Beal missed a lot of time, under 60 games, 4 years in a row, though bear in mind, 2 of those seasons featured less games because of the of COVID, and the shortened season as a result of the offseason changing. But he hasn't been on the court with regularity. He missed a lot of time. I have no problem with this trade for the Suns. It's good, but DeAndre Ayton was clearly unhappy here. Now you have 3 great scores. Beal can't play much defense. They're going to give up a lot on the other side of the floor. Book's an okay defender. He's proven it. He's tough. Durant is Durant. Ayton, we'll see what happens. I like Frank Vogel as the coach. Did a great job in Indiana. Got the Lakers the title. He manages egos very well. He's a great defensive coach, so maybe he's got some philosophies that he can teach. We're going to forget about his Magic chapter. No one really remembers his Magic chapter. Wink. But I'm curious to watch the Suns. I don't think they're winning the West. I don't think they can beat Denver as currently constructed. Still don't have anyone that can stop Jokic. Or Murray, for that matter. Who's guarding him? Anyone? Anyone? No? Okay. Not the Nuggets necessarily going to win the West, but it's going to be fun to see what happens next season. I don't like the trade for Phoenix, though. Not that giving up Landry Shamet means much. Chris Paul is on his way out anyway. Maybe adding Jordan Goodwin can help the defense, as mentioned a few minutes ago, but I don't think it puts them over the top like some people might think. Just because you're adding a new part and getting some kind of so-called big three does not mean you're going to come out and win the title. The Suns are certainly not underdogs, so whatever, right? But speaking of, you can sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code 216 to match your first deposit up to $100. Again, sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code 216, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. But man, think about it. Suns ain't get that much better. Not when it's going to matter. Bradley Beal's never been to the conference finals, by the way. Booker's been there once. KD hasn't been to a finals without Steph and Clay and been successful. Of course, losing with the Thunder back to LeBron's Heat in 2011, surprisingly in 5 games. Suns are potentially players for both Russell Westbrook and Draymond Green. They can get one of them. I will reconsider everything I just said. Draymond Green in that system with those 3 guys, they might become the best team since the 73-9 Warriors. Bold statement? No. Accurate. And let's talk about the Cavs. Jarrett Allen, the Fro. Some people want him traded. Russillo and Simmons think he should be traded for Lou Dort. Ha ha, LOL, question mark, head scratcher? Why? Lou Dort's a great defender. Lou Dort's not that expensive, but what the hell, man? What does that do to the starting lineup? We already don't have a starting 3. And if you put in Dort, we don't have a starting 4. There's no depth yet up front. That was the problem last year. Why would you trade your 5 for a 3? Maybe even a 2? Brah. Love Lou Dort, but no. I mean, OKC with Jalen Williams, Josh Giddey, and SGA might not need him. We'll have Kenrich Williams, though. Can we get him for something? Not Jarrett Allen. Do not trade Jarrett Allen, man. Why? Because Mitchell Robinson bodied him? Guess what? Jarrett Allen just had a learning experience. Think he's going to be lazy and just sit and play Zelda all summer? He might, but he won't be lazy. He's going to be playing Zelda between morning and evening workouts. Evan Mobley also is going to be putting on some muscle, putting on some weight. Those two are a great duo. I'm not ready to put Evan Mobley as a center yet. I like them together. And trading Jarrett Allen for a wing is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. I am aware of the need. But you can just let LeVert walk and pick someone else up that you think is more consistent. Imagine Kelly Oubre in this starting lineup. Better defender. More consistent shooter at times. There's a lot we can do. A lot of decisions can be made. Don't pay Max Strus to be a starter, by the way. Should the Cavs, pardon the train going by, if you hear that in the background. That time of the day. Train rattling. Strus, not starting caliber on a team that has Garland and Mitchell, two elite playmakers and scorers. But obviously, defense is a bit of a weak spot. I don't know what they're going to do there, but don't trade Jarrett Allen for it. And for the trade Jarrett Allen for Kristaps, folk, what are you talking about? You know who you are. Why? Kristaps can shoot threes. Kristaps can put it on the floor. Do you know how many rebounds Kristaps averages? For a guy that's 7'3", 8.4 a game. Kristaps Porzingis, games played last 6 seasons, 48 out of 82, 57 out of 72, 43 out of 72, 51 out of 82, 65 out of 82. He's played 8 years, and 65 is the third most games he's ever played. No. And I like him as a player. He can shoot well. He just shot nearly 50% for a career high. Career high in points this past season. Career high in steals. He shot 85% from the line, 39 from 3. That is second best in his career. But no, he's not what we need. We don't need Kristaps Porzingis. Why do you want Kristaps Porzingis? Can you tell me? Why? You know what I love, but he's not going to be available. If you're going to trade Jarrett Allen, it'll be Daniel Gafford. Blocker, jammer, plays his tail off. I love Daniel Gafford. We're not getting him, though. He's certainly not going to be available. And over the last 3 games of the season that he played in, he's not really a scorer, but he had 15, 25, and 22. He is a baller who never gets enough playing time. He averaged 21 minutes a game this year, and that was a career high. He's the one I would want over Jarrett Allen. He's not as good of a finisher, but he's got game. If you want toughness, I don't understand this trade Allen, though. He had one bad series. One bad playoff series. Yes, it was his first chance to prove it. And now that meme of, the lights were too bright. We're seeing that everywhere. So they were. Give him another season where the lights might not be so bright. And he's used to it, and he's ready. He never won a playoff series. Karis LeVert's never won a playoff series. Donovan's never been to the 3rd round. Garland hasn't won a playoff series. Jetty's never been a rotational piece on a team that won a playoff series. Now, there's a lot. Bring in guys with experience that can play. Obviously, it didn't work out with Danny Green, though we were very excited at times to get him in after he ended the regular season. Maybe get rid of Sam Merrill. Get more bigs. Get playable bigs. And no more lack of options. If they had a bench guy to come in and possibly replace Allen or Mobley at the 5 of the next series, it would have made a difference. They didn't have that. Poor management, poor roster construction for that. So that's that. We'll see what happens. We got the NBA draft coming up this week. That should be fun. Cavs are picking a whopping 49th in the 2023 draft. A lot of mock drafts have come out. We got a number of great prospects. We're going to see Victor Wembenyama going first overall to the Spurs. He's 7'4". Although his team got swept by Monaco in the LNB Pro A Finals. His team's first ever trip there. Victor averaged 22 and 10 with 3 blocks. League MVP, youngest to do so. He might play in the Summer League. He's got an 8-foot wingspan. He's going to be great. You got Scoot Henderson, future superstar guard. Charlotte may get him, and they could pair him with LaMelo Ball. Kind of how the Kings at one time had Halliburton and Fox playing Next one, we got Brandon Miller, who is going to be an insane scorer, could play that good defense somewhere. Got the Thompson twins, Amen Thompson, great point guard. Ossard Thompson, the sharpshooter. You got the guards, great scorer, Cam Whitmore. Jarrett Walker, Houston. He's at the NBA store today, signing autographs. I butchered that pronunciation. Pardon me. I haven't actually heard his name out loud too often. We got Grady Dick. We got 6'7" guard from Arkansas, Anthony Black. Taylor Hendricks from UCF can be good. Derek Lively from Duke. Jalen Hood-Schifino. Bilal Coulibaly, a teammate of Wembenyama. Cason Wallace. Keontae George. UConn champ Jordan Hawkins is a great shooter and playmaker. Nick Smith from Arkansas, going to be great. Probably going to see Amani Bates selected. Keegan Murray's twin brother Chris is going to be drafted. Ryan Rupert from the New Zealand Breakers. Tariq Whitehead, Trace Jackson Davis, Maury Bailey. We got some talent. G.G. Jackson from South Carolina. So a lot of great guys coming in. I think the Utah Jazz, of all the teams, and maybe having a weekend pod, stay tuned to that, about the Jazz. They got all the former Cavs on there. So much to talk about with that. But for now, what we say, I think they have the most interesting offseason ahead. I think their only two cemented long-term starters at this moment are Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen. They might trade Sexton. They could trade Olynyk. They could trade Horton Tucker. Unsure what to do with Jordan Clarkson. Damian Jones just opted in. Got a lot of interesting pieces. Ochai Agbaji had a good rookie season. He could certainly be playing more. Horton Tucker was somehow insane as a point guard over there to end the year. Šamanić was good at the end of the season. There's an option there. Fontecchio probably doesn't figure in much. Azubuike and Juzang, Very curious how things end up for them. What they choose to do. What direction they go. Clarkson did have a great season. First full year as a starter since the beginning of his time with the Lakers. A healthy Sexton could make a difference if they choose to keep him around. Olynyk had who we don't like. We don't like you, Kelly. Sorry. Not really, though. He still has trade value. Horton Tucker has trade value. I don't know what they're going to do, what way they're going to head with things. But I'm certainly a curious guy. How things are going to shake out, what the moves are going to look like. They got 9, 16, and 28, 3 picks. They can use 2 of those to move up high and get a franchise-changing player. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they get someone good at 9. Maybe they keep all 3, do a summer trade. They could attach some of these vets and get a guy from another team that wants out. I think they're a play-in team next season at absolute worst. I think they will be a top 10 in the West. Again, always hard to pick who's going to fall out when another team moves in. Them and the Mavericks, I think, are both going to move in next season. That's how the league goes. So, let's see. I'm very curious about the Utah Jazz, Portland TrailBlazers. Damian Lillard may or may not be here next season. Not really sure. And if he's not, maybe get the number 3 pick for him. They want Bam Adebayo, apparently. I don't know who's getting traded for what. Could trade Simons, but Simons, Sharp, and Lillard, that backcourt's kind of crowded. They do want to re-sign Jeremy Grant, but should they just do a sign-in trade, get more other value? I don't know what they want. They obviously need a franchise center. Yusuf Nurkic, a little old and slow. I still like his game. He provides value, but not enough. I think Charlotte, the Spurs, and the Blazers can do a lot, along with the Jazz, to make a splash. Charlotte's going to get Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, a franchise-changing player. They might get Miles Bridges back, who I believe has been cleared from some of that wrongdoing. His partner said it was an overreaction. No comment, by the way. This is a very touchy subject, but she mentioned it as an overreaction of sorts, and they're still close, that he never did the thing she claimed. It hasn't gone viral. That part of the story wasn't really picked up anywhere, but I saw a tweet from her. Miles Bridges did a Twitter Q&A. If he does come back, though, Charlotte could be a little scary with him and Hayward, Ball, Mark Williams coming into his own. PJ Washington's still there. They might get this second pick. Good start. We'll see. Portland, good luck. Some head coaching changes as we look at everyone hired around the league. Detroit bringing in Monty Williams, 6 years, $79 million, highest paid coach in the league. Got the Suns to a finals. Coached with New Orleans as well. It's a lot of money. Some of it is, and obviously he did struggle to keep the Suns together. DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder, among others. His wife, who undergoing some cancer treatments, does get insurance as part of this. So that, I think, is the coolest thing. At the least, Monty can really afford for her and take care of it with this contract. So family first. I love that. We'll see how he does with the players. Ime Udoka, remember what he did with the Celtics. He's with the Rockets now. Might get James Harden. I do have a high pick. Don't know what they're going to do, but okay. Adrian Griffin got an A-plus higher on the ratings for the Bucks. Good time with Toronto. Makes a lot of adjustments in game. And the Bucks should be able to win a couple of playoff series with him at the helm. Philadelphia, Nick Nurse. Big thing with him is he plays the starters a lot of minutes. Good luck to Joel Embiid, but he's going to change things up. He'll bring a lot of toughness to the floor. Certainly more poised than Doc Rivers was. It's going to be Doc Rivers. You're wondering how long it's been since we've had a season with Doc Rivers not coaching anywhere. Doc Rivers, last season, not serving as an NBA head coach. So I'm confirming he's never had a year off. Doc Rivers coached 4 teams over 24 seasons without a year off. 3 in Philly, 5 in Orlando, 9 in Boston, 7 with the Clippers. So how about that? Doc has not had a losing record since 06-07, but his teams really struggle in the big games. So I made the conference finals 3 times, all with Boston. All 3 with Allen, Garnett, Pierce. Or at least Garnett, Pierce. Allen was there for a few of those. I actually think they were together for all 3, but that's not the point. He's done nothing outside of Boston. He's got a playoff record in his career. I mean, he's been to the playoffs a lot. But he loses a lot of games. A lot of games that he should have won. Anyway, 3 straight second-round exits with the Sixers. All 3 years featured a second-round Game 7 that they lost. Atlanta, Miami, Boston. This is his first year not coaching since 98-99. Frank Vogel getting the Suns hire. I like what he's going to bring. And the last hire is with the Toronto Raptors, a long-time assistant, DARKO RAY-OCK-A-VICH. Looking at his resume, he's been coaching in the G League / NBA for 12 years. A couple of years with the Tulsa 66ers as the head coach, coming over from Espacio Torrelodones. They're in the Spanish EBA League in the 4th tier. Helped get his team a promotion. Did struggle for a couple of years after. 51-49 record with the Tulsa 66ers. Assistant with the Thunder from 2014 to 2019. While he was in the G League, coached guys including Jeremy Lamb, Andre Robertson, Reggie Jackson, Reggie Williams. That was while he was with the Tulsa 66ers. He was great for player development with the Thunder. He was the Summer League head coach. He was on the All-Star coaching staff. Spent a little time with the Suns. Spent a few years with the Grizzlies. He was on Igor Kokoskov's staff with the Suns. Then spent a few years with Taylor Jenkins. We don't know much about him, other than where he's been. He's 44. Got his degree in coaching from the Belgrade Basketball Academy, degree in sport management from Alpha BK University. He's a Serbian coach, would make him the 2nd Serbian NBA head coach ever, along with the guy he assisted for earlier, Igor Kokoskov, the national coach for Luka Doncic, before he got to the pros. Oops. I wouldn't. Oops, Phoenix. He took Ayton instead. Anyway, that's our look around the association. A lot going on in the NBA. Let's see what the Cavs do. Free agency is coming up. Have a lot of content around that. We are going to talk more Utah Jazz. Obviously, they got our guys Lowry and Collin and Jordan and Ochai. That's the Cleveland Jazz or the Utah Cavs, whatever you want to call it. That's it for today. I'm Zach Weiss, and this has been a production of Network 216. Peace.